Hi everyone, it's Jen, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make some multiple animations on several objects at once, as well as applying layered animations or multiple animations at the same time or that run one after the other. So another reason to use animations is to create an illusion. So it looks like something is moving around on the slide like it might in real life, for example. Or maybe it makes it look like the road is moving or the sun is setting. Here we'd like to make it look like these drips are dripping. So I'd like to select the slide 4 is the active slide, and on that I'm going to make sure that I select all of these bullets. Now remember that you can select multiple things at once on the slide. You can do this by holding down your control key and selecting on these individuals. Please note this is part of the background animation, illustration, and you will not be able to select that tiny little cute drip. So you can use your control key to select them by holding it down and clicking on each one. Another great trick for PowerPoint slides is if you'd like to select objects that are near each other, you can go ahead and click and drag to select all of them at once. If you got something that you didn't like in there, for example, you got the text box on accident, like let's say I did this, and I got this but not my drip, I could go ahead and use my control key. I'm holding down the control key and I'm clicking on the large drip, and I'm then clicking on the text box to remove it. So you can use that to add or remove items from what you have selected, much like selecting files in the File Explorer window or cells in an Excel spreadsheet. So now that I have those selected, I'd like to animate them. I'm going to head up to my animations menu here in the animations tab, and I'm going to click on float in. Now you'll notice that automatically these float in going up, which is not exactly how I want them because drips tend to float down. So with them selected again, I'm going to go to my effect options and change this to float down. Now that's much better. But now I'd like to go ahead and make a few changes to these animations. Now, depending on your version of PowerPoint and your PowerPoint setup, you may see numbers on the slide representing the order that these happen. I'm going to go ahead and open up my animation pane here, and you can see that I have text that is activated here. That's the first animation. And then my second animation all happens at once. And that's not really how drips happen, right? They happen kind of one after the other. So I'd like to actually change, for example, this drip. So here you can see that this starts with previous, and I'd like to change it so that it starts after. So I'm going to go ahead and change it to starts after previous. And you'll see that this shifts the teardrop motion forward in my animation pane. And I'm going to also make this one start after previous. And now you can see they're a bit more staggered. I'll go ahead and preview my animation. Let's see. Oop, there goes a drip, drip, drip. Okay, these ones still came in at once. So you can go ahead and play around with things and see what you like. I'll go ahead and switch this one. Start after previous. Oops. And now you can see that they're really staggered. I'll go ahead and do a preview again. Let's see, drip, drip, drip. And of course you could change the order of them. You can move them around. Like let's say I want this one to be first. I can go ahead and click and drag that one to the top. Let's see how it looks now. Drip, drip, drip. Oh, I like that much better. So in this case, unlike the animations that I applied to the bulleted text where I wanted to activate them while I was speaking, these ones I just want them to activate immediately once this is animated. so that I'm not clicking around there to activate them. They just go automatically. Again, you can go ahead and play around with these drips. You can play around with different ways of making them fade in and fade out afterwards. And I decide that I'd like to have them all kind of float out when I'm done here. So I'm going to go ahead and select them all. And rather than going to the main menu here of the animations, which if I clicked on them would remove my float in animations and replace them with whatever I added, I'm going to go over here to the add animations menu. It looks exactly the same, so it can be kind of confusing. But I'd like to go ahead and do an exit effect where I have them float out. And again, I don't want them to float out all at once. So I could, for example, have this one float out after previous, and I can play around with these and go ahead and play around with it and see the different ways that you can change them. I'm going to have that one float out, let's see, after previous, because I want it to float in and then disappear. And then let's see, after previous, let's see what it looks like. Let's see if what I did worked. Let's see, drip, ooh, it dripped away, drip, drip. I like it. Of course, I may want it to go in different order, maybe have them all drip away at the same time. You can go ahead and play around with these animations and see what types of illusions you can make. I'll see you in the next video.